Like me, I said on the first day, I said on the first day what the truth was. And all of you idiots, you couldn't get it like I could. So, everybody, I'm just smarter than everyone else. Gee, what should we talk about? Seems like there's really nothing in the news. Huh? Nothing going on? Just a really, like, quiet, tranquil weekend. No news to really speak of. What are we going to talk about? Now, hey, what's up, everybody? So, look, a couple of things, all right? This Russell Brand thing, it's not a race, all right? It's not a race to see who can land on the right opinion and then ride it out till the end of time. And look, one of the structural weaknesses of the YouTube social media system is that there is intense pressure on us creators. There is intense pressure on us creators to settle early on in these stories, to settle early on a perspective and then ride it out. Like you're placing a bet, like you're going to the Vegas tables, or you're going to the horse races, and I'm going to put it all on number 9. And then you just have to ride it out. And what I mean by this is that earlier I posted on Instagram, I reposted something that umbrella guy, Tug, has pointed out, and others have as well, Legal Mindset and others have pointed out that those text messages that were published in the Sunday Times, the really incriminating looking text messages supposedly between Russell Brand and one of his accusers, they're apparently faked. Or at least there is something really significant and concerning about differences in appearance between parts of the text message. It really looks like some of the lettering is blurry. I mean, you've seen it, and Hug has pointed this out. Some of the lettering on those texts becomes blurry at a certain point. It just looks like they were evidently doctored. And, that text conversation, that is the most compelling evidence that has been put out there against Russell Brand so far. In fact, that was one of the things that really gave me pause at first. And Andy Signore on Popcorn Planet was pointing this out. That, wow, this text conversation looks really incriminating for Russell Brand. Yeah, but it's also doctored. It's clearly, obviously doctored. Now, it could be, I guess, that there's some kind of a technical issue with the way that the Sunday Times reproduced that text exchange. So maybe the issue was not with what the accuser gave the Sunday Times, but with some fucked up way that they reproduced it. But whatever, that text exchange that is being presented as the most incriminating piece of evidence on Russell Brand right now, it is clearly, in the appearance that we have it in the Sunday Times, it is clearly doctored. That is huge. And yet, I have some people on my Instagram and on my Twitter saying, wait, hold on, don't say anything about that because he could be guilty. And I have some people who've been talking to me behind the scenes, a couple of people who claim to know Russell Brand and claim to have a history with him, who are telling me that he is a bad guy and that history is going to end up proving, and once all is said and done and everything has come out, then we will see that Russell Brand was in fact a rapist and a horrible guy and everything that they're accusing him of being. You know what? Perhaps so, but we ain't there yet. And I do not have psychic powers. I wish that the aliens that are hovering around our planet would come to my house and would lay their, little alien hands on my head and give me psychic powers, so then I could just magically know what the truth is in every one of these fucking MeToo cases, but I don't and I can't. So guess what I have to do with the little bit of brain power that God has given me as a human? What I got to do is I got to see things as they roll. I got to see things as they come in, and I have to use my brain to evaluate them in real time as best I can, just like others, just like Tug, just like Andy, and some of the other commentators. So, like, if some of you have some better way of figuring all this shit out, I'm all ears. But until then, I've got to roll with it as it comes. And so initially, when these allegations against Russell Brand came out, I said, look guys, I've been doing this Me Too hoax stuff for years now. I am very skeptical of any new, highly charged, heavily heavily politicized and heavily media oriented allegations. Yes, I always start from the position of the presumption of innocence. But then as evidence comes in, if it looks legit, as testimony comes in, yes, of course, I give credence to that to some degree. But then we have to look into, okay, well, who's saying this? Why? Does their story make sense? And then the little bit of evidence that we've been given so far, those texts, they were clearly doctored, or at least what we're being presented with is clearly doctored. And I'm just supposed to ignore that? So one of the weaknesses of this whole social media game, this whole YouTube social media game that some of us creators are playing, is that we have this tremendous pressure on us to make a bet early on, right? Because everybody wants to be first. Everybody wants to get their impressions out there before everyone else does. Everybody wants to be the first one who's right. So they can say, oh, I told you so. All of the rest of you, you were chasing that rabbit down that hole and you thought that you were right, but you were wrong. And like me, I said on the first day, what the truth was. And all of you idiots, you couldn't get it like I could. So everybody, I'm just smarter than everyone else. Subscribe to my channel and like my post. No, that's not how it has to work. So I don't know what to think. I don't. And I'm highly skeptical of MeToo. I'm highly skeptical of our media. And to me, there are significant reasons for doubt. But I don't know. But I can tell you that the best evidence that's been presented so far, the quote-unquote best evidence that's been presented so far, has clearly been doctored. And again, I don't know if it's an issue with the Sunday Times or it's an issue with the original quote-unquote evidence being faked by some accusers. But whatever, there's a big problem here. And so I'm not going to ignore it. And I have some people behind the scenes saying, you shouldn't say anything about that because there's a lot more stuff that's going to come out about Russell Brand and then you'll be proven wrong. You'll have egg on your face. You don't want to do that. No, you know what? I have to do that because there's no other way to cover this stuff. So as it rolls in, all of us in the social media YouTube world, we have to make judgments as these stories are rolling in, as the quote unquote evidence or assumed evidence, supposed evidence is rolling in. We have to make judgments in real time. And then you know what? If those judgments are proven wrong, or if more evidence comes out, or if it turns out that no, those texts weren't doctored, but there was just some kind of a mishap, I guess, at the Sunday Times printer, they couldn't get their shit together for this major breaking story, they couldn't get what their images right, their image presentation right. If it turns out that that's the case, then you know what I'll say? Well, okay, looks like there's a lot of other evidence that's come out. Looks like Brand is guilty. Okay, you know what? Guess what? Oh my God, perhaps shifted my perception of things. Oh, the horror, she's changed her mind. Come on. So I think that one thing that is unfortunate about this game that we're all playing is that there is so much pressure on content creators to make a bet early on, to be out there first, to be the first one saying whatever the truth is. And then we've got to ride that bet out until the end and just hope and pray that we're right and we're not proven wrong, so that then one of our social media friends can point at us and say, I was right, you were wrong. I'm not down with that shit. And I don't like that attitude. And I also don't like the attitude of some people in my audience who are telling me that I should keep my mouth shut and not have opinions and not speak out about what I'm seeing as it rolls in with the Russell Brand stuff because, oh my God, I might be wrong. And there might be all of this other evidence that's just waiting to come out. And then when it finally does come out, I'm going to have all this egg on my face because, oh my God, I said those texts look doctored. Oh my God. Give me a break. It's asking too much of us. We're human beings. We don't have all the information, and yet we have, as content creators, tremendous pressure on us to be producing content. I'm hanging out with my family this weekend at a hotel in Dallas, hanging out with the in-laws and whatever. I just went down to have breakfast with them, and you know what they said to me? They said, "Why are you down here? Shouldn't you be like on your phone, like all this Russell Brand stuff? Shouldn't you be putting content out?" And I'm like, "What?" I know they were joking. I know they were. I'm trying to make a point here, though. The voice of authority speaks from next door, from the bathroom next door. No, No, I know they were joking, but I'm just saying it's a point though that there's tremendous pressure on content creators when a story like this comes out. There's tremendous pressure on us to get out there early, to have some really awesome quick take that will get promoted a lot and that will get a lot of attention, and then also to get it right because we don't want to be embarrassed later on if it turns out that we're on the wrong side of this, you know? I mean, initially I thought Johnny Depp was guilty. I wasn't a content creator back then, but when Amber Heard, when she first came out and did her, walk of shame with the faked bruise and all of that in front of the media and everything, I thought she was telling the truth. And you know what? Eventually, when Johnny Depp filed that lawsuit and all of that other information came out, then guess what? I changed my mind and I became one of Johnny Depp's biggest defenders. So we content creators, we are allowed to make observations in real time as the information is coming out, and then later to revisit or even change our opinions. And we don't have to get it right from the beginning, and we don't have to shut up at the beginning for fear that if it turns out we were wrong, then we'll have all this egg on our face. I, for one, cannot move forward in the world with that kind of fear and that kind of pressure. So I'm going to continue to make observations in real time as information comes out, and those texts that so far are seemingly being presented as the most credible evidence to come out of this story so far against Russell Brand, those texts were clearly, in the form in which they were given in the Sunday Times, were clearly doctored. And I don't know what the issue is, but it sure makes the case against him look really bad. But I understand that there are a lot of people out there who are saying, yes, but there's a lot of serious allegations and people behind the scenes, a couple of people who are telling me, well, there's stuff that hasn't come out yet and all that. Well, great. When it comes out, then we can talk about it. And let me just say, I'd like to talk to the couple of people who are talking to me behind the scenes and claiming that they have all this information about Russell Brand that hasn't come out yet. Come on my show and talk about it. Otherwise, put up or shut up. Okay? But I'm tired of the criticism. It's early on. We're not even out of the first inning yet, and already getting all this criticism from all sides. People saying, oh, you got it wrong, or you're going to get it wrong, or you better be quiet because you might get it wrong. Shut the fuck up. Bye.